Hey guys, it's Jasmine. Welcome to another video on my YouTube channel and blog. Today's card is going to be using the Magical Dragons set from MFT, or My Favorite Things. I fell in love with this as soon as I started seeing it. Images all over Pinterest and YouTube and all kinds of places. So finally got my hands on it, and this is the first of many, I think, that will be created with this. I've got some ideas for Christmas cards with this guy. So I think this is going to be really fun. So what I did was, I started with Crafter's Companion Spectrum Noir cardstock. This is my personal favorite when using Copics. I find that they just blend a lot smoother and I get less bleeding when I use this cardstock in comparison to like Nina or really any other one. This is my favorite. So anyway, I've started with the, looks like he's flying, the dragon. There's 3 large dragons in this set. This guy looks like he's flying. My initial thought was with the baby dragon to kind of make like Daddy was kind of blowing a cloud, letting the baby sit in the cloud and teaching him how to fly, how to breathe fire, that kind of thing. So I did some masking with full sticky back Post-it notes and stamped those, cut those out. And now I'm going to go in with some Copic markers. So I'm going to put some music on while I color, so you guys don't get too bored. And I will catch back up with you when the coloring is finished. I did try to show the caps of the colors I used, but they will all be listed in the description box in case you're wondering specifically what Copics I used. So to do the background, I'm using an Inky Antics cloud stencil and different shades of inks, and just use the blending tool to go over the edges of the stencil. I wanted to make like a million layers of different colored clouds. So it's kind of what I did, just layering over one another, using different shades of blue and purple and some gray. And I will have all the ink colors I used listed in the description box as well. And you can use any cloud stencil for this if you don't have this specific one, or you can freehand cut a cloud shape out of some scratch paper and use that as a stencil. There's nothing too difficult about cutting a bunch of wavy lines in some paper. Or you can use, if you have like a stitch cloud die, you can use that to cut some scratch paper, and that will make a really nice border too, or stencil. So you want to use a light hand so that you keep some of the white highlights. It's almost like we're using the negative space to create the cloud shadows, to give us the different layers within the background. So here I'm going in really lightly with Blueprint Sketch Distress ink. And I wanted the colors to get just a little bit darker as I went from top to bottom. And here I'm going in with Wilted Violet. And if you do this with a lot of different colors, you want to make sure you're using colors that aren't going to turn brown or gray when you mix them together, such as yellow and purple, or blue and orange, green and orange. Things that are complementary colors that look good together, but when they blend, they get muddy. And it might not be what you want. So it's just something to be aware of. So I've pulled off my masks, and now I'm going in with some gray markers to add shadows under my dragons and under the cloud. And this is going to add a 3D effect. So it's going to help them look like they're popping up off the page. And this is going to add dimension and depth to the scene. And I started with C5 and C3, but I did end up going in with a C7 to kind of deepen up the contrast. So the next thing I do is I go with a neat and tangled stamp called Dreams. Yep. And here's what I would do differently. I stamped this twice using some embossing ink. It wasn't my Versamark. I used the Distress Cube, and it was probably too dry. But if I were to do this again, I would use a black pigment ink and then add my embossing powder over the top to make sure that the background image is very dark. Because as you can see here, my stamped image was there, but it wasn't wet enough to hold the powder. So you'll see how I fix it in a minute. It is fixable, but ideally If you were to do this again, I would use a black pigment ink. So I heat set that with my embossing tool. And whenever you're heat embossing, you want to make sure you run your gun for at least 30 seconds to let it heat up, so that this does two things. It lessens the amount of time you're applying heat to your paper, which in turn leads to less warping. And it also embosses faster because it's hotter, so you get a better image. So what I did to fix it was I went in with, these are Faber-Castell markers. They come in a set of 4 and they all have different widths. And you want to choose one that's going to match the line width of the stamp. So I went in with my marker and carefully darkened the lines. And I was picking up the embossing powder, the glitter in the embossing powder when I was doing this on my tip of my marker. So you want to be careful that you don't damage the tip of your marker. I didn't. I just kept my hand real light, and then I was kind of removing any chunks I picked up. And then I'd go back and add a little bit more until I felt like it was dark enough. And I also ran, before I stamped the Dreams image, I ran it through my Big Shot using the largest of the Avery Elle, Wonky Stitches frames. There's 2 sizes in there, and I usually use the larger one. It is probably one of my most used dies in my collection. And then for the sequins, I use Little Things, Passion Flower, and Sugar Plums. You can see to the left there. And also some 4mm sparkling clear sequins from Pretty Pink Posh. And I'm adding those with some Ranger Multi-Matte Medium and both my tweezers and a quick stick tool. And then the glitter paper in the background is from Doodlebug, just some white glitter cardstock. Comes in 12 by 12, and I get mine at Hobby Lobby. And then I attached the front panel to the glitter paper using score tape, as usual. And then that will complete the card for today. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. And we will see you next time. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. And don't forget to subscribe just so you don't miss anything new from me moving forward. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.